Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Vortex Racing Network's production of Big Trucking Tuesday. The Bonfire Race League comes to Nashville Super Speedway for playoff racing. It is the round of 8, only 2 races in this elimination round. Today at Nashville, these boys will figure out who is going to compete for a championship later at Chicagoland. This is not a win and you're in situation. All points reset for this round, so all 8 guys with an equal shot here today. 3 wide in the booth, Mean Gene Money here with my tag teams partners of Zach Panzarella, Smokin' Joe. The booth is crowded, but that track's going to be crowded too. Zach, how you feel on this beautiful Tennessee evening?
Super excited to be here, Mean Gene. The round of 8, it's all come down to this. And yeah, like you said, completely resets and nothing carries over. So it's completely an even playing field for these 8 drivers competing for a chance at a BTT championship. So big moment here for these guys. And I really couldn't pick a better track. Nashville Super Speedway, a lot of these guys had this race circled on their calendar. So they really want to grasp the moment here today at Nashville and not let this opportunity slip them by. This is a big race here in this season.
Tell you what, nobody thinking more about it than David Owens. He loves this track so much, he sponsored it. Today is sponsored by David Owens, the Burnt Rubber Revival 200 here at Nashville Super Speedway. Lots of action expected this evening. Let's take a look back, though, what happened just last week. The boys were at Homestead in that elimination race, and what do we see? AJ Benish, the return. Guy showing he's got amazing speed, has the ability to point race, but also win. Justin White took the second place. Justin had a little bit of a kerfuffle as him and another driver had some fun out there with each other. Mr. Dylan Walterman, a little bit of wrecking, a little bit of talking. Justin managed to finish second. Dylan, unfortunately, not so lucky, found himself off to the wayside, finished a lap down. Third place, David Brenner, the Gulf Coast Racing truck driver, tried his best. That third place jumped him 2 spots, -6 behind Schofield, finishes in 9th. Unfortunately, didn't make it to the round of 8. So that last week, that eliminated David Buell, David Brenner, Zach Williams, and Nick Mills. All 4 of those guys eliminated. Big news, though, Kyle Lynott jumped 2 spots into the 7th place, and he survives once again. I mean, if this guy had any more lives, I'd call him a cat, Zach.
Yeah, Kyle Lynott has been surviving and advancing in these playoffs so far by the skin of his teeth. But really, that's all that matters. All you got to do is get to that final race, that championship race, and then once again, everything resets, and the best out of those 4 is going to take home that championship. So Lynott has done what he has to do to continue to have opportunities at this championship. He has a clean slate here today, just like the 7 other drivers he'll be going up against. And the one I'll have my eye on today, excuse me, the most, besides the obvious one, David Owens, is AJ Benish. Benish was dominant last week here in the BTT, and it didn't take him long to pick up where he left off on Thursday night over in the MRL Truck Series here on VRN. He dominated at Kentucky, by far the fastest truck. Nobody had anything for him. AJ Benish has found his speed again in that number 5 truck, and he is one dangerous race car driver. I'll be watching to see what he can do here in Nashville today.
Yeah, you got to love seeing him back. Announcers kind of threw down the gauntlet, challenging AJ, wondering where that speed went at the end of races. Always see him up at the front, but wondering where he was at the end. This time, he was on top of that podium and over in victory lane. AJ going to be a guy to keep an eye on. You know, Justin White, just as well, a great battler, moving up. Zach Angle, great speed. Volpus, that's another fella that you got to keep an eye on. And then here come your dark horses, Stephen Neal, Matt Schofield. Always seem to be in that picture. Matt Schofield, this guy's made so many final 8s, I couldn't even count that high without taking off my shoes. Waiting for him, though, to break forward into that final 4, maybe run for a championship. And then here he is, the lucky cat. He's got 7 more lives, Zach. That's that 988 of Kyle Lynott. I'll tell you what, I'm wondering if you peel back that 988 on the side of his car, are you going to see a yellow and red 22 underneath it? I'm just saying. I'm just wondering, because Kyle Lynott, he's got great speed. He can win races. And with this format, Zach, of all points are even again, he just needs 1.7 good races, and he's in that Final Four.
Yeah, he is as dangerous as anybody else in that round of 8. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, speaking of being like that 22, I mean, talk about one guy you can stretch a gas tank further than just about anybody else. The only other driver I'd put in that same category in this round of 8 would be Joseph Volpes. He also is incredible at getting the most out of a fuel tank while still maintaining close to optimal speed. But that's what's so fascinating about this BTT playoff system is just how much it evens the playoff field. Like tomorrow, we're going to the DDRL championship race, and Panzerelli is going up with a 25-point advantage due to a different system. So different over here. Love the variety of systems we have. And speaking of, this is another thing that this league has in common with tomorrow, and that's that best of the rest playoff challenge. However, once again, a very different system. It's also completely evening out here, not carrying over from the previous round. So here we go, looking at the 6 drivers, me and Gene, that are moving on to this next round of 6 for these best of the rest drivers. Who do you have your eye on?
Well, I think Verdiani has shown some great speed. We saw him challenge David Owens just last week for a win on a green-white checker. Tommy Fox, probably one of the most consistent guys on this list, likes to start in the back, lets all the foolishness unfold in front of him. And then there at the end, he's always going to be battling for that top 10, top 5 position. Jake Johnson, this is also a great driver of interest for me because of the moments of greatness that he shows. Jake is able to show great speed, and it happens at various times. Sometimes it's in the middle of a run. Sometimes it's at the end of the run. Question is, will Jake be able to put it all together to stay ahead of these other names? I think Jake is a guy that's going to be able to do that. Graham McGivern, wonderful English driver. Even though he's missing that accent, another fella on a good team. He's on that DDI team. He's got good resources, just needs to be able to put it all together. Eddie Peltz, this is a fella that came over from, what did you call that league? Premier League? The Platinum League?
Precision Racing League.
Precision Racing League. Tons of experience in the truck. Eddie, I've raced against him over in the Sunday Bonfire Cup League, has that ability to find himself in the top 10. These guys, they'd love to win. They want to be in that top 5. But right now, in this best of the rest playoff system, I think a top 10 is what you're looking for. And then here comes Tim Darby, another guy that shows improvement every week and still on this thing. As long as you're alive, there's a chance. Wonderful group of guys right there. But I think you almost have to look at it in order right there. Ferdiani, Fox, Johnson, and then see what McGivern can do. Maybe the brakes go his way. And Peltz, I've seen the guy run in third in a cup car before, but I've also seen him running in 30th. So a lot of inconsistencies. Question is, how many laps did Edward put in before he came to Nashville here today?
Yeah, that's going to be big to see how much practice these guys put in. This is a track that you really got to put in those reps before you get here, especially based on the fact that I checked with our friend Bob Pockris. There's lights here. There are lights here, and they are on. So it really is one of those tracks that, I mean, I've raced here quite a few times in a few different types of race cars, and you never know if you're going to be racing in the heat of the day, in the morning, or here like we are at night under the lights. So you got to put in that practice, because what you may think you know here could be entirely different than the last time you raced at this racetrack. Not to mention just the abundance of updates that we've had in this platform here on iRacing that have affected the way that these racetracks have raced. One thing that I assume to stay consistent, like you said, not a coincidence that David Owens chose this race to sponsor. I like to call this place the House of David Owens, because he is flat out dominant here.
The House of Owens, I love it. Now, Zach, it's not as bright out there on the track as you think, because watch this. I'm going to put a hat on my chrome dome. Yeah, and you see how it got a little bit darker. A lot of that light's just kind of reflecting off the top of my head right now. Take it back.
You're right.
And,
wow,
and
that
here we
made
go.
a huge difference.
It does. I've actually gotten complaints from some of the drivers when they're coming out of turn number 4. They see the shine causes an obstacle down there. Going to see what I can do, boys.
Yeah, is that you? That's the reason why some of those paint schemes just look like the light of God is on them. Is that just you?
Yeah, it is. I do my best to improve the broadcast. Speaking of, ladies and gentlemen, this is brought to you on the Vortex Racing Network. Big Trucking Tuesday live here from Nashville. If you like what you see, that's why you're here. You want to see more of it, go ahead, hit like on this race, on this broadcast. Get us moved up that algorithm. Go ahead, subscribe, tell your friends. Let's get those subs up as high as we can to continue to bring you some of the best iRacing action that you're going to see on the YouTube channel. Qualifying about to wrap up. Fastest guys in practice to keep an eye on, though, Zach. Clearly, we're going to be looking at a David Owens 29.93, only guy to break that 30-second barrier here today. Joe Vulpes, Kyle Lynott. So let's see here. Qualifying now is wrapped up. Ooh, two guys broke that 30-second barrier. Look at that. David Owens going to be on the pole. Going to have that number 8 ready to rip. Joe Vulpes on the outside of row number 1. Going to be starting in second. AJ Benish. I think these are the 3 guys we were talking about. Zach, top 3.
Yeah, that really is interesting there, me and Gene. And also, just like we're seeing in the real life round of 8, what are those Gulf Coast racing trucks bringing to the racetrack? My goodness, what did they unlock? The only 2 cars who broke that 30-second barrier, Gulf Coast racing cars. Trucks.
Oh, maybe they're really in Toyotas. You never can tell. AJ Bennett's going to start 3rd. Nick Mills, welcome back, Nick. Nick missed the first round of elimination races, but he is here today. Nick showing great speed out there in that number 20. Tommy Fox, he's the first best of the rest driver. Going to start up in the 5th place. David Buell eliminated last week after a little tangle with Eric Gambrell. Cost David Buell lots of positions, but he's still out here for pride and a trophy starting in 6th. Zach Engel racing for a championship spot, going to be in 7th. Jake Johnson, 2nd man on the Best of the Rest series as far as grid position, starting in 8th. Kyle Lynott looking to advance, going to start in 9th. And Justin White last week took home 2nd. This week going to start in the 10th position. That's your top 10.
Rounding out the rest of this field, in 11th place, we have Zach Williams. 12th belonged to Edward Peltz, Mr. Boater. He is one of our best of the rest drivers, and you see in parentheses right there. Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I have one thing I know about Peltz. 13th belonged to Eric Gambrell. Man, we've been seeing Gambrell actually night after night here on VRN. Always a pleasure seeing him. Matt Schofield will be starting in 14th place. He is one of our chase drivers, and I believe he may be the worst qualified. No, actually, no, that's going to be Neil. And then in 15th place will be Graham McGivern. That is a best of the rest driver for Daily Drivers Inc. 16th will belong to Zach Winstead. 17th, Tim Darby. 18th, Paul Ferdiani. 19th will be John Jay Beverly, the... And then 20th will be Steve Lewis. Will be starting over in the 20th position. And starting with Beverly, I should have said, none of these guys put down times, so these guys just lining up in order of iRating. 21st will be Neil. He is a chase driver, so that is interesting. 22nd will be Morris Craven, and 23rd, you've got hot mail. It's going to be Adam Hot, male hot. Oh, I shouldn't go for that because I reversed it.
No, that's the sharp dressed man right there. That's the best dressed guy in Big Trucking Tuesday history, wearing a tuxedo down there in the cockpit of that number 66 truck. Getting ready to fire it away here, but hey, first, congratulations to David Owens. He is your LeagueNewsWeekly.com Pole Award winner. David Owens, the Mobile, Alabama driver, sponsors races, takes poles. So good for you, David, continuing to lay attack. You know, and last night, Owens, a big win in Monday Night Mayhem in the Cup car right here on Vortex Racing Network. So Uncle Mo in the house powering David Owens to that pole. So going to see exactly what happens. All signs pointing towards a David Owens Tuesday, though. Sponsored the race, took the pole, and here we are rolling out. David Owens going to lead him. Look at Joe Vulpes, though, real close to him. Joe's letting David know, we might be teammates, but I'm still going to battle you, even if it is just to get behind the pace car.
Yeah, we saw David Owens last night. He was on top of about 24 dudes, and he picked up right where he left off. staying on top on the pole. He's going to see nothing but clear racetrack for as long as he can remember. And yeah, we predicted this. And what I'm thinking, if you're Benish, if you're Volpus, if you're any of these guys in the top 5, your best time to strike David Owens has got to be the short run. This guy knows how to get around this track on the long run. You got to try to strike early, but it's going to be easier said than done because, like we just saw, he's also the fastest car on the short run here. So let's see what these drivers can do about that number 8 truck here as he sponsors this race.
Yeah, I'm really curious also. You know, you talked about David being on top last night, but as we watched that roll unfurl, he really loved the apron. So he was more on bottom than he was on top. We'll see what lines he chooses here tonight. Owens waiting for the flag. Gonna be the lead truck. That's that number 8 blue and orange NOS. Flag man waves. Away we go. David Owens going to take a screen here in Nashville. Joe Volpus on the outside. Benish, though, side by side with Volpus, denying him to get down on that bottom lane. Volpus still working that high line in third right now outside of Benish. David Owens with control. Benish now going to fall in behind him. Single file, 6 trucks deep. Great racing here into turn number 3. Volpus trying a different line. Quickly peeks back down under the apron with Benish. Owens, Benish, Volpus. Great racing here early. It's going to be David Owens taking lap number 1.
Yeah, so we go off the flag man to start these races, and it looks like Barney, the iRacing flagman, kind of fell asleep there. Definitely a later restart than I think any of those drivers were expecting, and that, I believe, is what cost Volpus that second position there. As he falls back to third, Benish able to grab that second position right behind Owens, and just like that, the guys who have been dominating BRL and MRL the past few weeks are running 1-2 to go into lap 3 here, and Benish ducking to the inside of Owens. Here we go.
Oh, AJ wants to battle him, looking down low. Owens is going to be on top this time. Benish below him, rides the apron, sneaks on by. Owens looked like he did make contact with that wall, cost him some speed. Owens falls into second behind last week's winner, Benish. Benish now leading him into 3, single file. Owens, then Volpus behind him. Nick Mills still up there. Tommy Fox in 5th. Be a great day for Fox, finishing in the top 5 for his Best of the Rest championship hopes.
AJ taking our advice right before the race and striking early, taking the lead when it was available to him. And one thing I'll tell you, Mean Gene, that I'd be afraid of the rest of this field, anyone that's not that 5 race truck, is Owens a little bit tight on exit. We'll see how much that affects his exit speed. Volpus not able to do anything with it, but Benish able to strengthen that gap a little bit. But I was racing against this guy here on Thursday. You could watch it if you want to over on this very network. I was running second to him almost all day and all race. What was I saying in my head, Mean Gene? Make a mistake, make a mistake, make a mistake. He never did, not once. This guy is as solid as they come. So if Benish can make this speed last, I don't think he's going to make a mistake.
No, a lot of good action in the back. Joe, if you want to go back to Gambrell, Graham, McGivern, Paul Ferdiani. Look at this little group right here. That's Eddie Peltz looking on the bottom in the 7. Steve Lewis, the captain, trying to get involved. But right now, Graham McGivern riding that apron in that 33, kind of slowing down this big group of drivers. Going to be interesting to see just how aggressive the 46 of Gambrell is willing to get. There's a few drivers out there that would tell you Gambrell who doesn't mind getting aggressive as the next guy. Good racing right here as they're going to continue around the track doing battle. Great action here. Gambrell now appears to be slowing up the herd. Eddie Peltz and Lewis on the bottom. That's Ferdiani on the outside along with the 45 of Stephen Neal. Ooh, little tight there. Backs up on that outside lane. And now Gambrell gonna get looked at hard by Eddie Peltz. Peltz making a move on the bottom. Outside lane, you can see Ferdiani trying to push Gambrell. Not a lot of help there. Peltz and Lewis making big moves. Something's up with that 46 of Gambrell, though. Just not having quite the speed, only here on lap number 7. Great racing here early. Lap number 8 continues to unfold. Keeping an eye back here on this group, they are just showing us some of the best racing we've seen. Neil really needs to cut through there, taking the chance, I guess could be the word, of starting in the back. But now Neil got to make a move, especially with Gambrill trending the wrong way. That group right there just backed up a little bit, not going to help those drivers' chances. But we're still early in the race, only here on lap number 9. Now, you might be wondering, how far can these trucks go on fuel? Well, early reports tell me they can go about 32 laps on a green flag run. Now, you're probably doing math, because I know most NASCAR fans are mathematicians. If you start counting how many laps we're running today, that kind of means you might come up one set of tires short, only 3 in the pit. More interesting math for people to do here on this track here at Nashville tonight. Speaking of interesting,
now?
Hey, there he is.
Sorry about that, guys. The weather in California, surprisingly, is awful right now, and it is affecting my Wi-Fi terribly. But I am back, and been watching all the action. Didn't miss anything, and yeah, good points so far. And you are right. This is pretty intense early, but it is time already. Oh man, maybe not to start thinking about fuel, because we might not be staying green for very long. Look at this.
42. You know, Zach, usually I support everything you do, but ladies and gentlemen, Zach was undoing the top of a empty Gatorade bottle, and I just told him, you need to take that outside.
You're right.
He was gone for just a minute. He's back now.
That's fair.
Yeah,
you have to tell everybody.
That's my Gatorade bottle, okay? You bring your own. It's not that I was disgusted, but that's just mine.
That's fair. That's fair, man, Gene.
There's good racing in the back. These boys, you know, Eddie Peltz, well, he knows he's only got Jake Johnson. You know, he's got Graham right there he's battling with. He's got Jake Johnson he's battling with. So in striking position, Ferdiani is the one I'm kind of surprised. He's up one spot, riding in 17th. But as far as that little group goes, I kind of thought Ferdiani would be a little bit further up at this point. But it's tight pack racing here at Nashville. These guys know that the tires could be at a premium a little bit later on in the run.
This definitely is kind of a long run type of track, especially when you get to this point in the run. Already 13 laps into it, they're going to be feeling that tire wear, even with these cooler conditions. So I think already these drivers trying to settle in, understand that this race is going to be a marathon. This is a long one here, me and Gene. 150 laps around here at Nashville. And even though they call it a super speedway, and it certainly isn't one, it starts to feel like one after a while. So these guys, I think, having their priorities where they need to be early. Even someone like Owens, who has fallen down all the way to 5th. I mean, always, whenever I see Owens not running where I feel like he should be on speed, it always honestly makes me nervous as a driver.
Yeah, both those Gulf Coast drivers, David Owens and Joe Volpus, trending the wrong way. Owens down 4 spots into 5th. Joe Volpus down 5 spots into 7th. But if you look at the drivers that are ahead of them, it's not like they are out of this race. You see right ahead of Volpus, that 988, that's Kyle Lynott. That guy's been as fast as anybody these last few weeks. So being in between those guys, you know you still have good speed. There's Lynott, almost does the usual there to Owens. Owens lucky enough to avoid that. And then you can see ahead of them, Justin White, 2nd place last week, championship driver. And, you know, great mover right here. And I'm sorry I missed the attack he made. How about Zach Engel up 5 spots, currently running in the 2nd position. Now, he is 1 full second behind Benish. But, Zach, this guy right here, one of your namesakes, he's been putting on a show this year.
He has, and he spells Zach correctly, which goes a long way in my book, Minji. That means a lot to me. So I'm a big fan of Zach Engel for that reason, among many others. He's just been such a fun driver to watch improve. I was gushing over him all race last week, but here he is again, running in 4th, and once again on the long run, showing strength. Him and Tommy Fox just kind of grouped together to me as just 2 drivers who have just shown so much speed in the past year or so, and it's been so much fun to watch. Tommy Fox, one of the best of the rest favorites, and Zach Engel in this round of 8. And let's not forget that this guy, I believe, was in the Cup Series round of 8 last season as well in this league, so this is no unfamiliar territory for this driver.
Yeah, Zach, 47, you know, making it happen here today, chasing down AJ, but that gap is slowly spreading apart. Zach losing 0.2 of a second over the last couple of laps. Now, he's a little faster than Justin White, has an almost 2-second lead over the number 28 Toyota, who's back in third. And then you can see that Justin White has Nick Mills, David Owens, and then that group with Lynott and Buell. Looks like David Buell managing to sneak around as well. Buell 8th, Tommy Fox 9, Zach Williams 10th. Good battle right here, though, as well. Look at Jake Johnson taking a little peek underneath Zach Williams. Good stuff out there by that 32. Needing a good finish here today to continue to advance in that best of the rest tourney.
And look behind them. Look at McGivern and Peltz. It looks
Madhouse.
like it's just, yeah, right? It looks like it's just casual single file driving, but it's anything but. These guys have completely different entry and exit speed, and it's creating some kerfuffles if I've ever seen one. The side-by-side action that we're seeing with Jay Johnson almost looks easier than what Peltz, McGivern, and Darby are trying to negotiate right now. I'm sorry, and Winstead are trying to negotiate right now, along with Lewis. As you see Peltz looking to the inside of McGivern, getting him a little bit loose. And don't forget, Mean Gene, these are two of our best of the rest contenders. These are important positions right here.
Yeah, it is, and it backs up the field just a little bit. Stephen Neal coming very close to the rear of John Beverly. Kind of has to throw his momentum off. Neal looking outside, needs a clean lane to try to start moving up. Neal right now is the farthest back of the playoff drivers. Finally, looking down below the 901, this might be his chance. Momentum's fading away. Outside lane is rolling quick. Neal needs to start making moves here to get back up. Next up on his list will be the 24 of Zach Winstead. Winstead is in that group with those Gulf Coast guys, so he's got a great team, a great network of knowledge and information at his in his hands. So Winstead's not going to be an easy pass right there battling with Eddie Peltz.
Speaking of not an easy pass, Jake Johnson is all types of loose right now, trying to work it. And here we go. Yeah, behind them, you also see Winstead working. But look at Lewis and Jake Johnson right there battling hard. And yeah, behind them, you still see Winstead trying to work that out with Neal and Peltz. All types of action in the middle of the pack here on the in the BTT. And this is something that we're getting used to seeing. And what's also really starting to be common is the tightness in the middle of these corners for these drivers. 23 laps in this run, and these tires are not what they used to be. And here we go. Look at this action. Freddie Henning trying to be a part of it as well with John Beverly.
Leading that group, then you can see Neal and Winstead side by side. Also got Beverly, Ferdiani, and then Matt Schofield. You know, that is also the playoff driver. He's actually the furthest back of the guys in the round of 8, trying to chase down Neal. So this is an interesting battle here, but they've got to move their way up. Only 4 people are going to make it out of this round. So if you're looking up at the front, I mean, it's real easy. Just look at the top 4 drivers: Binish, Angle, White, Owens.
And what's so crazy about the round of 8 too, Mean Gene, is this brings me back to what's going on right now in the NASCAR Cup Series IRL. Is I just remember Ryan Blaney blowing that tire in the first stage, and immediately you see him go from above the cut line to minus 34. That is how delicate these situations are. And pretty much that's a long way of me saying, yeah, running in the teens right now, if you're trying to make that championship race, is not going to cut it. There's a chance that coming in 3rd place twice in a row won't cut it. You need to be borderline dominant to make sure you are available to race in that championship race, that you're eligible to win that championship. So you're right, Mean Gene. It is insane how quickly it can really compound those point deficits as you're trying to make that round of 4.
Could you imagine the anger of an individual with 2 third-place finishes that got booted?
Oh, my goodness.
You're right, you know, because the tiebreaker would go to whoever had the highest finish, and it would be, you know, the guy that got 4th and 2nd, or 4th and 1st, or whatever the points made it to give you the 6 points for a tie. So yeah, a lot of competition going on right now out there. Speaking of a competition, a couple of guys starting to fade. We talked about Gambrill's early troubles. Gambrill now has faded back into the 21st position. Not the day that he wanted to have. Started in 13th, but that tire situation we were talking about coming to roost, I guess, in the rims of the 46 as he's faded a little bit back. Other guys that have faded, as you mentioned, Schofield just trying to hold on out there, the number 61, dropping 4 spots. Now he's still in that big group. So coming into the pits is something Schofield has been masterful at. It's easier to pass him in the pit than it is on the track. So that might be something Schofield is thinking about as he finds himself within a second of the 5 drivers in front of him. Wouldn't be a big stretch of the imagination to see Schofield jump from 18th up into a 14th on a really good pit stop, especially depending on when they decide to do it. Lap 29, Zach, we were told 32 green flag laps. We're getting awful close to that number.
We are, and let's talk real quick before that happens about the inverse of what you were just talking about. Guys who are not struggling, guys who are disciplined with their tires and are reaping the rewards of that right now. First of those is Zach Engel. Look where he is now, just like last week, 2nd place on the long run. Brilliant driving by Zach Engel, and I can actually one-up that. He's the fastest truck on the track right now. Zach Engel is even faster than Manesh is. His last couple laps have been a couple thousandths faster than Manesh. Sure, that's not going to catch him on this run, but maybe we get a caution or two. Maybe Zach Engel can line up next to him, have a better starting position, and he's going to have something for that 5 Manesh. And the second driver, no surprise here. Let's go to the 8 of David Owens. We were talking about if he's not in the lead, it's usually not unintentional, right? David Owens clearly wanting to see what that truck has on the long run, and he has learned something here. He is one of the faster trucks on the track right now. Should be noted that Justin White in front of him in 3rd place is slightly faster than Owens right now, and Justin White is doing a great job. He is up 7 positions from the start of this race, so White also one that we're going to have to keep our eye on if we get more long runs. And one more guy, go to 10th place of Steve Lewis. He is, excuse me, my voice is killing me today. He is up 10 positions from the start of this race. Steve Lewis started this in 20th, and he is up to 10th place, currently sitting right inside the top 10, and his last lap times are right up there with anybody else. So what a job by Steve Lewis. Keep those tires underneath him.
Here we go. AJ Bennett's going to bring her into the pit. Going to start off the cycle, the leader coming on down. You know, you're looking at those lap speeds. The top 6 guys all were running within hundredths of a second of each other. So let's see now who's going to take tires, because as
Neil,
we mentioned,
Gibbern,
those tires going to be at a premium. You only got 3 sets and in the pit. And with the 32 laps that you can run, you might come up just a few laps short here in this 150-lap race. Now,
and here comes Zach Engel.
If you did some fuel-saving foolishness, I think you would be able to perhaps stretch it out to just the 3 stops. But those lap times right now, nobody's thinking about saving fuel.
Maybe, maybe not, because remember how early someone like David Owens yesterday was saving that fuel. We'll try not to rat him out too early, but Owens actually, it looks like he's going to cycle to 2nd place. Justin White will cycle to the lead, and this is when we're going to find out who is committed to what strategy early on. And White's coming in this time right now. White coming in right now. Owens going to inherit the lead of the race here. So the top 3 cars have now brought it down. They have shown us what strategy they are going to go for here early, and that to me really seems like the obvious move here, Mean Gene. Like, it is far too early to be counting backwards. I mean, not just because I can't do that math. I mean, that's just way too much math for somebody like me, way too far removed from school. But also just, it's too early. There's too much that can happen. We have over 100 laps around a borderline short track. I would not be running a long-term strategy, and it looks like David Owens isn't yet either. Owens gets that lap led. He's going to bring it down, and we got Buell around on the entry of the pits. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Nick Mills. I apologize. That is Nick Mills. The camo car, hard to see.
Let's go down to Smoke and Joe in the pits. Joe, are these people thinking about 4 tires, 2 tires, fuel only? And what's Nick Mills' pit saying right about now?
4 tires.
Nick Mills definitely not happy with what just happened there. A lot of different strategies really going on. Looking at the pit times, most of these guys look like they went fuel only. The first guy on tires that I see is Tommy Fox right now in 12th place. So definitely some interesting strategies going on. Looks like Vulpes, Buell, Owens took 2 tires. Vulpes and Buell took fuel only. I think Nick Mills is even putting on 4. AJ takes over the lead again. He took fuel only. So most of these guys look like they're taking fuel only. Maybe going to try and see who's going to go for the 3-stop versus the 4-stop here as well.
I'm so just flabbergasted. I mean, clearly these guys did some math to me and Gene. But yeah, we have this. It's about a 1 second delta from your. That's Mills right there. It looks like the caution actually is out. And I will say, me and Gene, we saw worse things happen this week with camo cars entering pit lane. So Nick Mills can at least know it could have been worse. You can just ask William Byron about that.
I see what you did there.
I did a thing. Oh, the caution was Mills, so maybe I jinxed it, but I at least didn't see him slowing down inexplicably for the pits. But that's just back to the pit strategy here, me and Gene. That is very fascinating to me. I mean, like I was about to say, obviously these guys did some homework. They wouldn't do that blindly, right? Like they'd have to know that there's enough benefit to not pit, or I'm sorry, to not take tires and give up that 1 second delta. It honestly blows my mind. 9 times out of 10, the move is to take tires always when you run that long. And go ahead, Spoken Joe. I can show you what happened here to Nick Mills. But just we'll have to see how this works out. And this is what brought out the caution here. Nick Mills exiting the pits on old tires, right, Spoken Joe? These are old tires?
No, he went with 4.
I think he went with 4.
So he went with 4. Wow. So I guess this is cold tires, and that not. Man! Woo! That was close. But not only is that going to be a caution, that will likely be a pit road penalty as well for Nick Mills.
Wow. Spun coming in, spun going out. Rough break there for the Kentuckian running.
And AJ Manesh is in the 20. Pits again. What is going on?
Everybody, look at it. Look at it. Everybody coming in thinking, hey, let's get a little splash and go. Why not? You know, we talked about how you could push it forward. I think that's what we're about to see. Meanwhile, up front, Zach Angle, Justin White, they stay out on the track. These guys battling to make their way up into a playoff position. You can see also Jake Johnson, Zach Winstead, all stayed out there. And then here comes the guys that pitted on lap 38, taking just a little bitty splash. AJ going to be the first of the bunch. Lynott, Owens, Neal. So lots of different strategies going on at this point in the race. Joe, what? Let's go back down to Smoking Joe in the pits. Can you get some information out of these guys?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different strategies going on here now. So guys like, Zach Angle, Justin White, Jake Johnson, and Zach Winstead, they're committing to the 4-stop strategy here by staying out. It looks like Jake Johnson, Zach Winstead, they both took tires. So they most likely will take the lead here on this restart. Zach Angle, Justin White did not take tires on their green flag pit stop. AJ Binish, of course, we saw him not take tires on green flag or under caution. Same goes for Kyle Lynott as well. David Owens took right sides accidentally on his pit stop, so he decided to throw left sides on under caution here. Stephen Neal, it looks like he's going to go with fuel only. And just to highlight the other playoff best of the rest guys, Graham McGivern, he went with, looks like fuel only or maybe right sides for him as well. Tommy Fox, he went with fuel only. Eddie Peltz went with fuel only again as well. Joe Volpes threw on a set of tires there. Matt Schofield decided to top off as well. So I think these guys back here, David Buell, somebody else maybe trying to do a different strategy. So all these guys trying to do something, make sure that if they threw tires on, to make it worth it for a 3-stop instead of a 4-stop.
How is it not worth it with the Delta? So what's the justification? That's what I'm confused about. What's the mentality of these drivers?
To have a set of tires for the end of the race if need be.
3 sets available. I'm too used to DRL.
Not having a set. So a little bit of news there. You could see 3 drivers came in once again to pit there on lap 39. A little bit extra fuel. That's Ferdy, Annie Buell, and Nick Mills. Green flag. Here we go. Great start there initially by Angle. What is going on?
That was a
Whoa.
sloppy restart, Mean Gene. That was a sloppy restart. And we're hearing penalties from the NASCAR box. And we'll have to see if they're... Oh, yeah, don't like how low Angle is.
Yep.
Angle is serving a penalty. He jumped that restart. That is heartbreaking for the 47. White as well.
Oh, White!
Double penalty.
All right, so it looked like White also had a penalty, slowing down, making
we're not done
contact
yet.
with Binish.
Now we are. Sorry, Mitchin.
24 around, lots of action out there on the track. Bad, like you said, Zach, sloppy restart there by the two front guys. They jumped the start.
We'll go all the way back to that.
You could see that inside car able to get down Zach Angle immediately into the pit. Justin White caught on the outside, tried to slow down, backed up the field, and then it just turned into a car lot.
Yeah, let's take a look at this, Smokin' Joe. I'm trying to get us... Here we go. This is a good angle, right? Here we go. I'm going to play this on real time, and let's watch what went wrong here. Look for the white
angle.
line on the racetrack.
Angle,
I like what you did there. Angle went and then didn't and then went, and that's what got everything all messed up there. White reacted to it. I can imagine Justin White is a little bit frustrated about that. Angle, and knowing what he did there, he's going to immediately duck down. So now let's keep our eyes on Justin White in the 28 because he's about to get the worst of this. I think I'd rather be Zach Angle in this situation.
Look at Jake Johnson on the bottom. He's like, not me, not me, not me.
But it is. Oh, actually, it's not. The 24 goes around.
Mm-hmm.
A nice save. And even Justin White, not as bad as it looked like it could have been. And I'm not sure, and maybe you can enlighten me on this one too, Smokin' Joe. I saw Zach Angle going to serve that penalty about the moment that caution came out, and you have to serve that under green. Is he not going to get eligible? Like, do we have that yet? Do we know if he is going to get credited with serving that penalty, or does he have to duck back down when we go green here?
So I don't think he ever got down pit road to start serving it before the caution came out. So him and Justin White are still going to have those black flags when we go back green, to my knowledge.
Oh, that is brutal, Mean Gene. Well, there's one thing that isn't brutal, and it's the VRN schedule. So let's take a look at that so we can maybe distract ourselves from just how sad that is for some of our top drivers. Let's start with just the schedule, and let's take a look at what we have coming up this week. Because it's already been a great week, hasn't it, Mean Gene? We had a lot of fun yesterday.
Tell you what, Sunday we started it off. Zach joining us in the booth. Great racing there. Then Monday night, of course, great win there by David Owens on the MRL Monday Night Mayhem. Here we are, Big Truckin' Tuesday, watching the round of 8 get underway here at Nashville Super Speedway. Tomorrow night, it's championship time for the Wednesday DDI Truck Series. Going to want to watch that one as we see who gets the first ever DDI Truck Championship. Thursday, we're live with Kevin Kyle. Thursday Thriller Truck Series MRL action. Rolling it back around to Sunday, where once again, we will see Indianapolis this week for the Premier Cup boys of BRL. But there's more.
Yes, there is, Mean Gene. We are introducing a new league, and we're doing a doubleheader here on Mondays. We're going to be expanding the DDIRL to an ARCA league that will be starting in just a couple weeks, October 27th. We have a 10-week season, 2 preseason races, and this will be going live, yes, live, before the MRL Cup Series, and then we'll be concluding precisely right when practice begins, so you can doubleheader as a driver if you want to, and as a spectator, you better be watching that doubleheader. I could not be more excited. Get signed up, hit up any of us in the booth, Smokin' Joe, Mean Gene Money, me, Zap Panzarella, anyone that's an admin over here at VRN, we can get you signed up for this league, but it's time to go green here at the BTT.
Always leave a comment also in YouTube.
Yes,
if
please.
you want to get in contact, or hey, just tell us who your favorite driver is. Speaking of drivers, Jake Johnson gonna be on the bull or the control truck right now, bringing them into the restart zone. Away we go. Johnson gets a jump, but AJ Benish gonna stay with him. They're side by side going into turn 1. Kyle Lynott, Zach Williams up there. Inside lane, not moving quite as quickly. And you can see just how quickly Benish is making it a move on the outside. Now Johnson finds the speed in his Ford side by side with the bow tie of Benish. Great action into turn 3. Zach Williams outside cuts it down, gives dirty air to the 988 of Kyle Lynott. Johnson loving it. Now Williams finish side by side. Jake Johnson gonna lead lap number 45.
This is what I love about the Bonfire Race League. You don't see Jake Johnson and Zach Williams up front too often, but look at this. They just drove the doors off AJ Benish, and they are 1-2 right now. These two fresh tires really showing what they can do, but Jake Johnson is an excellent driver, and he's showing that right now, and same goes for Zach Williams, as they're going to drive away from Lynott and Benish, and this is why I did not fully understand that tire strategy. I get that you want some at the end. We'll see how valuable that becomes with how this race unfolds. But right now, what a day under the sun it is for Zach Williams and Jake Johnson leading this race by quite a bit. This is fun to watch.
I told you I seen him. I told you once. I tried to tell you. Jake Johnson runs great laps. It's just a matter of if it's the beginning, middle, or end of a run. Here he is on fresh tires, got out to that front. Now he's looking great. Zach Williams, he only took fuel back on 38, so he might have got tires on 33 with the rest of that bunch. Not really sure. 38 was his second lap. I would imagine with those lap speeds right there that he did take tires. 30,
Go to
25.
Beverly. Go to Beverly. This is
Compared to a
insane.
3108.
Look at this, Mean Gene.
Oh, Nick Mills, look at the 42. Getting out there as well. Great racing. That's Tim Darby on the outside. Owens trying to get by Captain Crunch Steve Lewis. Here's Owens
3-1.
on the inside. Louis comes up in front of Beverly. Little bit of action there. Then you can see the 74. That's Morris Craven underneath Beverly now. And then behind them, you can see Tim Darby, Matt Schofield there on the bottom. It's 3 wide. David Buell's in the middle.
And let me take my hat off again to Steve Lewis, because there is some damage. Oh,
No.
we're going around. Never mind. Uh-oh. What a save. What a... yeah, that's
Hold
a save.
Darby.
He did it, Tim Darby, driving the wheels out, getting up on the wheel. Tim Darby, nice save, my friend. That was gorgeous. And Zach Winstead thinking, maybe you shouldn't try and get close to him right there. But let's take a quick look at the rear end of Steve Lewis, even though we enjoy doing that all the time. It's a good-looking rear end. But that guy is driving with damage, and that doesn't matter. He is still putting down fast laps. That rear tailgate, yep, there it is caved in right down the middle. Captain got crunched. So Steve Lewis still fast with that damage. And I'll tell you what, Mean Gene, at a track like this, I'd prefer front-end damage over that rear-end damage that Steve Lewis is dealing with. What an impressive drive from that 88. And you can see how loose that's making him.
Yeah, I was about to say, we've seen that rear-end damage immediately equals loose coming out of the turn. Lewis early into this run right here, but hey, he only took fuel back on lap 38, so he might be struggling a little bit with old tires now with that rear end damage. Lewis holding on to that 13th position, but under attack. You can see Mailhot and Schofield behind him ready to put moves on the captain.
Now let's take a look at Nick Mills going to the inside of Volpes. Slide job. That was rude by Nick Mills right there, as he was not clear. And up front, same thing going on between Ferdiani and Gambrel. These two are just mixing it up. And what I'm starting to see is it's really hard to complete passes from the bottom. And if you want to do it, you might have to do what Nick Mills just did and force it. I mean, there's no other way to describe it.
Now, speaking of making moves, how about up front, Zach Williams taking over the lead from Jake Johnson, managed to get around. And with those lap times, I'm thinking that Williams took tires back on 33 and then came down on 38 for a little splash and go. So Williams and Jake Johnson both on fresh tires. Yeah, exactly. Johnson having a little bit of trouble here. I think Johnson might have smoked those tires running those early laps to get into that lead and get that advantage. Behind him,
Ferdiani on Benish.
Ferdiani and Benish having a little fun time. Ooh, little net code there.
You saw that, yeah.
Yeah, Ferdiani tail whipped him. And now that allows Gambrel, Volpes, Mills, and Owens to all join that party. Oh.
Yeah, he opened the door and he just saw a bunch of people come rushing through it. And one thing that, if we want to nerd out over iRacing real quick, that could be affecting the balance between Jake Johnson and Zach Williams is like you just brought up. I think you're 100% right. I think Zach Williams did come in, fuel up just a little bit, but I think he does have those fresh tires from lap 33. but that extra fuel does affect the balance of the car. Even 5 laps. The extra fuel could make it a little bit more stable through those corners, maybe even less tight. You never really know what it's going to do to the truck, but it certainly can affect the way it drives. Sometimes I like to just put in a full tank of gas, whether or not I need it, Mean Gene, if I'm going to be in there for 4 tires anyway, just so the truck is predictable in terms of the way it's going to feel. As Vulpes making a move to the inside of Gamble right here, going into 1 and 2. Nice move by Joe Vulpes.
Going to take over that spot, does make that move. Gambrel now under attack by AJ Benish. AJ looking high. Gambrel fades up there to give him a little bit of dirty air. Nick Mills directly behind that crew. Great racing there for the 5th, 6th, 7th. Meanwhile, look back at Neil look back at Neil Buell and Lynott. These guys getting after it. Schofield finally making some forward progress. Earlier, I talked about him being in 18th, maybe coming out of the pits, moving up to 14th. Currently, that number 61 Toyota, he's looking great in 13th, moving forward. He's trending the right way. Kyle Lynott directly in front of him, another playoff driver.
And tell me if you've heard this before. Wherever Steve Lewis seems to go, chaos follows. Because wherever we seem to be looking at a 3-wide, 2-wide battle, Steve Lewis seems to be part of it. And I mean that with the most respect possible. Steve Lewis is just driving the wheels off that truck right now as he's trying to look to the inside of pellets. Once again, driving an injured truck and still putting down impressive laps. And when Steve Lewis knows he has a hot rod, that guy has all the confidence in the world, and he's shown it here. One guy right there, look at Lynott getting tight out of 2 there, and you see Peltz and Lewis trying to take advantage of it. All these guys that elected not to take those tires, they're in a world of hurt right now. AJ Benesh especially, but Lynott, another one of them. Again, maybe this will work out in the long run. So far, it is looking like it should, as we're staying here green for a pretty extended period of time, but that does not make this any more fun.
How about this pass attempt by Lewis? Lewis trying to get around Lynott. Lynott typically accustomed to being faster than Louis. So that took a lot longer than it should have, as Louis showed great patience. Here comes Mailhot underneath Lynott. He's not going to show patience. That 66 has got places to go and people to see. Make short work of that 988 as he's going to move up into the 15th spot. Up ahead of them, look at Neil and Peltz side by side as they're closing up into Schofield and David Owens. So lots of different strategies all crashing together. But I just wanted to go back and tell you the 88's name is Captain Crunch, not Captain Chaos, even though that really does have a nice ring to it.
It has a great ring to it, and I almost like it more. We'll have to have discussions with Steve about that because, man, that's a sick name. Oh, I almost wish you didn't say that, Mean Gene. I almost wish you didn't say that because now that's the only thing I want to ever call him. But you're still seeing Peltz working through this field. He actually was able to hold up Neil, now looking to the inside of Schofield. And also looking up here up front, we have a battle for the lead. Zach Williams and Jake Johnson battling for the lead. Oh, and you just see that Johnson still getting tight mid-corner, but he is finding speed in that truck right now. He has reeled Williams back in, so the battle is on for the lead here. And these guys have a nice 4.5-second gap to figure it out amongst themselves.
Hey, I got news for you, too.
What's that?
You know, they can only go about 32 laps.
Right.
On grass. So that means 70 would be the pit window for Williams and 66 would be the pit window for Johnson. So they're creeping right up on it.
I'll tell you, as someone who spent a lot of time not. Oh no! Oh, there's contact for the lead right there. As once again, Jake Johnson just being forced to the bottom, but he's just not able to hold it the way he needs to. But he's drifting up a little bit into Williams. Williams understandably trying to put the squeeze on, and it just is not working out. But these two are putting on a show, and I'm sure they're not going to pit until they absolutely have to. Because I'll tell you, like I was about to say, Mean Gene, I remember when I wasn't leading races often, and you know you have the speed, you know you can do it, and you're finally up front. You're just enjoying your moment, and these two deserve this, and it's great to watch them putting on a show for the lead. But yeah, I think they're going to enjoy this as long as they can, and they are in control of this race right now. We'll have to see how this all shakes out.
Well, they might be enjoying themselves, but if they touch like that again, they're going to get a cease and desist from the HR department. You can't be doing that too much without ramifications.
amazingly, Ferdiani, he is closing the gap, but not as much, I think. Ferdiani, I know. I mean, I say it like Glorious Bastards. We all know that. I mean, I didn't know until Paul pointed it out to me, but he is 1,000% correct. But now just Jake Johnson, that thing is not fun to drive as he tried to use the outside a little bit there. Got loose on exit. Zach Williams just has that 89 a little bit more locked in right now, but they are giving up time to Paul. Yeah. Nick Mills as well. So we'll have to see by the... Oh, and a nice slap of the wall there for Williams. You don't want to do that too many times. Oh, man, I wonder how many more laps these guys want to put on these trucks.
And you know, the worst part about this is if you're those drivers, you're up front and you're feeling good, but now the truck's not handling well. You don't like it. You're like, oh, man, I know what will fix this is new tires. Well, guess what? You've only got 2 more pair, and you still got another 90 freaking laps to go.
Yeah, we're not even at the halfway point yet, and as a matter of fact, you're right, we have another 9 laps until we're even at the halfway point. So even, yeah, with 2 sets of tires, splitting it from there is concerning, especially knowing your competitors are going to have that extra set if there is a late race caution. And look at this send by Jake Johnson. He just keeps flirting with Zach Williams. He is not letting him relax at all, trying to force him to mistake. Zach Williams has been rock solid, doing a great job. Jake Johnson, he wants that lead back, though, as here we go through 3 and 4. What a battle and what a show these 2 drivers are putting on. This has been great to watch.
Yeah, I was about to say, from my perspective, for the viewer at home, this is magnificent. But if you're the owner of the truck, if you're the driver trying to collect points, what exactly is the advantage versus being first versus second here in this battle? Like, why not just be in second and go ahead and run some laps, get to the finish, save some tires? Maybe you could do right sides. I don't know. I guess, you know, if you're in a truck, you want to win. And when you're that close, you want to win. But a little part of me is thinking, gosh, boys, you're not at the halfway point. You don't have to kill that other guy.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch, and I think they're only looking through their windshield, and they're especially not looking at their data. So I'll tell you what, Ferdiani has really taken off a lot of... Ferdiani, I can't say it with the Italian accent like that, so I just got to go.
That's his new name. His new name is Paul Ferdiani, Annie.
Ferdiani, Annie. Yeah, we're going to add some syllables to it. And he is taking off about a second a lap. That's a lot of seconds, Mean Gene.
Oh, my word.
I apologize to all the viewers at home. You guys didn't deserve that.
Now we all just got a letter from HR telling us we've been summoned.
Like we always say, you can Venmo us $5 and I'll never do it again. Just like us singing.
Oh, boy. Great battling up front. I'm hearing it on the radio. Jake Johnson talking about he's going to be the first one to blink the 32, saying he's going to turn it over to Zach Williams. I'm going to keep an eye on Johnson. Really curious to see if he's going to take tires, because that would be a heck of a move. But the way that thing was wiggling at the end, he needs tires. But I sure would hate to be trying to run 90 laps on 2 sets of tires.
Yeah, I would as well. This is going to be an interesting make it or break it moment for these guys up front, who I think we're at the point in the race where you've kind of made your bed and you're going to have to sleep in it. You just have to decide if you want, honestly, Mean Gene, a twin or a double. You're not getting yourself a queen or a king here today. I think the guys that are going to have those extra sets, they're the ones who get the nice bets today. But hey, you can do some great things with those bets. And that's going to be fun to watch. And also, we have not paid enough attention to the guy running in third right now. David Buell, as usual, quietly exceptional.
Yeah, David Buell, a little bit of bad luck last week. Took him out of the round of 12. Here he is today, though, showing what he can do with a clean truck, pushing forward. 31.46. He was the fastest that last lap of the trucks on his tire fuel situation. David Buell slowly moving up the field. He's still got Mills, Vulpes, and Gambrel directly behind him, but that 52 Toyota is on a rail right now on these older tires. Looking good out there. Ahead of him, Ferdiani, Williams, still waiting to see when they're going to blink, bring it down into the pits. But I'm looking at this data. Looks like Jake Johnson did take 4. Graham McGivern came down as well, took 4 on lap 70. Lap 69, Darby came down. He took 4, and Justin White, he came back down. Now remember, Angle and
He's
White
lapped down.
both serving penalties for jumping that restart. So those boys still 2 laps down. Would love to see some kind
Here
of
comes
caution
Zach
come out and
Williams.
save them.
Here comes Zach Williams. Oh, this is a sketchy entry. Wow, exceptional job by Williams. That did not look good at first. But what do I always say, Mean Gene? The entries in the pits that don't look good, that don't end up being speeding, are the best ones. So great job there by Zach Williams. And we're also seeing a few other trucks join them. Steve Lewis being one of them. One thing I'm curious about with Steve Lewis here, does he want to fix that damage? My guess is no. But that is normally fixable damage, and the temptation is so great. I wouldn't, because this is a green flag condition. Here we go. This is going to be Ferdiani. Oh, going to bring in another really aggressive, really good entry. That's what you got to do. And I think Jake Johnson's going to be there. But Nesh through the grass just barely clears it on the cone. I think that should be good. We'll find out if that's a penalty. I don't think it was. And that is the AJ Benesh that I know. And the avalanche has begun. Here comes Lynott. Here comes Schofield. The whole field's coming down here, Mean Gene.
All right, let's take it down to Smoke and Joe. Joe, what's the order of the day? Who saved tires, who didn't, and who's going back-to-back with 4s?
Yeah, I don't know what everybody's whole tire strategy is here. What I do know, though, is pitting this soon means you're committing to another 2 pit stops after this one. You cannot make it from here unless you do some magical saving. You need to make it to at least lap 70. I mean, 78 would be like the really early part of the window for magical saving. And then 80 would be a pretty safe number. And then anything past 80 is very safe.
Hey, your favorite driver does a lot of that magical saving, Mean Gene, so you should be able to offer some analysis on that.
Well, I think that one of the biggest issues that you have to keep in mind, though, is how much speed are you giving up when you're trying to save fuel? If you got somebody in front of you, you're not the one cutting through the air molecules. It makes it a whole lot easier. If you're not racing with somebody as well, you know, the show that we saw put on by Johnson and Williams, neither one of those guys had a shot in hell of saving fuel. But if you peek back at somebody else like, I don't know, a David Owens, who's not battling anybody, who's settled in, he's happy to follow the truck in front of him, that guy's pulling him around. Owens with little wheel input, that made it great for him. Now here, you could see he's now in front of AJ Benesh after that round of pits. So he would much prefer to have someone in front of him. Here's Joe Vulpes now. He's come bringing in on 79. He's on the outer boundary of what Smoke and Joe was talking about coming down. You can see Nick Mills behind him as well. So those guys, one pit stop away from being able to push this thing easily, or a little bit of the old clutch and shifter to make it with just one more pit stop.
Speaking of Mean Gene, let's go inside the cockpit of David Owens real quick, and let's see what it looks like inside of Owens. Here we go. I mean, right now he is just really dealing with a lot of much faster trucks in front of him with fresher tires, but as he gets to be by himself, and I think we'll see him do it here through 1 and 2, he's going to do one of two things. He's either going to just textbook hit this corner perfectly, or he's going to do what you know. There it is.
Yeah. And look at his line, too. You can see him take it in the bottom right there, and that's where Owens is at his best. So you got to really appreciate the skill that Owens is displaying right now.
Yeah, it's incredible what Owens is able to do. I mean, this is why it's the house of David Owens, the house that Owens built. And there's an example right there of a corner of him just absolutely just perfection. And what's interesting to me about Owens right now is he's not clutching every corner. He's clutching 1 and 2 sometimes, but he's not clutching 3 and 4.
I imagine, though, he's looking at the times, right? Like
I'd imagine, right?
If I run a certain time, that means I've used a certain amount of fuel.
Exactly.
So he's probably got his momentum figured out.
And now he does clutch 3 and 4. I'm still on board with him, and he is clutching all. Oh my goodness, Minchin. He clutched about, as you see on the exterior view, how much speed that cost him. I'm not even exaggerating, Minchin. He clutched about 75% of that corner. He is very much. He's on the clutch now. and he's just holding that bottom, and it's unbelievable the lack of wheel that Owens is able to put in, even while holding the clutch, even while on old tires. It takes so much to do what Owens is doing, and here's another thing he's doing. I think he's sputtering, actually. I think he's got to be pitting this time. He's got to be pitting this time. Because that car is sputtering. He's out of fuel. He's out of fuel. He's pitting. He's out of fuel.
Well, and he's done it perfectly then. You cannot have done it better. Look at him come in there. You know, there's a great temptation to race. You know, not a lot of guys have the patience to do what we just saw, which was accept the fact that you're going to get passed on the track. You know, and he was just able to ignore that urge to go fast. You know, the pressure is coming. All of that temptation's hit him, and he's able to just put it out of his mind. Nobody can take it like David Owens.
What's also an impressive thing about Owens is the risk that he's willing to take. So you saw me just in disbelief about how long he was clutching that lap previous to where he did start sputtering and ran out of fuel. And I got my answer the next lap. The reason why he was clutching so much, just in typical David Owens fashion, getting greedy, and I mean that as a compliment, and getting himself an extra lap on that lack of fuel, just clutching the whole way around the track. He is always doing math further ahead than his competitors are. He always has a plan, and he's always, whenever Owens is quiet like he is today so far, it's a concerning thing for his competitors because he's going to pop up when you least expect it. But let's talk about who is still controlling this race, and we did speculate that this would happen if this race does continue to stay green, and here we are again, Mean Gene. Jake Johnson back to the lead, and Zach Williams in second.
Yeah, Jake, they still got Justin White and Zach Angle a couple of laps down because of their jumping the start penalty. But again, Johnson committed to the 4 pit stop strategy. So if we go all the way back and think about who might try to take it with a 3 pit stop penalty, you got to start looking at Vulpes, Mills. They both pitted on 79. David Buell on 78 might be able to push it.
Good
and
timing.
Zach Winstead back on 78. Owens, you know, he did push it to lap number 83, but look what it did to him. It put him in 19th place. And if you look ahead to somebody like Joe Vulpes, who pitted there, Owens is 13 and a half seconds behind him. Now, granted, Owens looks like he might have only taken fuel again.
Fuel or two. Like, that makes it even more I think that's so inexplicable. I mean, Gene, you can take 2 and it would cost you maybe an extra second. Owens runs it long and he's okay with those tires. He wants, what, 2 sets of tires with this race? I don't understand. All right, so Smokin' Joe is in the pits. He's telling us he's going to key up because this is a long explanation here, me and Gene. This is the whole ass algebra problem here.
All right, so the reason why some of these guys like Owens and Vulpes took fuel only. So Owens accidentally took right sides when he pitted under green on lap 33 or 34, whatever it was.
Okay.
So then he took his left sides to match on the caution on 37. Okay. So he wasted that first set of tires. He didn't mean to, so he's down to 2. So by taking no tires here, he has 2 sets left. Going to use a set on the next pit stop and have a set left over if there's a caution. So that's the same.
How's the car driving? Does he feel confident? Does he have a fast race truck? It's been hard to tell so far.
Yeah, so pretty much what the strategy here is just trying to save the fuel in order to make it to the end on that one less pit stop. So you can see right now he's running pretty much equivalent lap times with the leader, just a 10th off.
Yeah.
So it's working out in his favor right now just because of the way the tire fall off works here, to where he's able to run equivalent lap times because he's actually starting to push it this run. Last run you saw how much he was saving fuel, so this run he's in push mode. Now on the flip side of it, Vulpes was doing more of saving on that last run, or pushing on that last run, so now he's saving by taking the fuel only this time. So you can see how far off he is from Jake Johnson, 7/10 that last lap. So he's dropping like a rock because he took the tires on the caution on lap 37, and he's doing the same thing, saving that set in case he needs it for a caution late. But he's going to drop through the field because he's doing his save run this time.
And just to clarify, guys like Jake Johnson and Zach Williams, when they pit next time, they will still have a set available to them. It's just a matter of if there's that late caution.
Yeah. So, well, actually, they're in deeper doo doo than that, actually. So
Okay.
pretty much they only have one set left right now, and they have to pit another 2 times still. So they really have to because they pitted. So if we look, Jake Johnson.
Oh right, you're right.
Pitted on lap 70, so he has to pit 2 more times, and he only has 1 set of tires.
Look at this. Schofield comes in for his 4th stop right now.
That is not a bad call.
He short pits, comes in, takes that last set of tires here on 90, so he's good for the rest of the race. Interesting to see what he can do with this, unless he still has another set saved.
I think Schofield still has another set sitting in the pits here. It's very confusing. I wish SDK did show us a little bit more data on, just who has what sets of tires and stuff. But, we could only...
That's what you get for $7 a month, Joe.
I'm so sad he says. I was going to say that I was about to be like, you'd think for $2 million a month we'd get that. You were going the completely opposite way I was there, me and Gene.
Yep, that's what we do there. But let's see, as Schofield's going to make his way around, we'll see what kind of lap time he's going to throw out there compared to the others. Yeah, he should be good on those freshies.
This should be disgusting.
Though, let's see here. Johnson still got a 2.3 second lead over Williams. Behind them, you can see Benish coming into the picture. Gambrel, great run here. Eric faded early in this run, made his way back after that last caution, getting a good starting position. 46 now holding on into that 4th place. Here's Paul Ferdiani. He really came on the second half of this race. Got to be happy with his 5th place position at the moment. That guy battling for best of the rest right now. Got to be thrilled. Then here comes Morris Craven. This is a fella I wanted to talk about earlier. He was making the outside lane work, showing great speed. Was Craven, and now that speed paying off as he survived through that set of cautions, came through that last green flag pit stop, took 4 on lap number 75. Right now, he's up 16 spots in that number 74 Toyota, running in the 6th place. Behind him, that is a familiar face. I'm glad he's back. Nick Mills, the number 20, eliminated in that last round, running a nice camo scheme. I'm used to seeing him in the blue, the Kentucky blue. But today running into that camouflage. Then here we go. More playoff drivers. Stephen Neal up into 8th. Got to be happy with the performance he's done here today. This should be enough to put a big smile on the face of that 45 Toyota team. And then here's your boy, Zach. Look at Graham running 9th. He was in danger earlier back in that 16, 17 spot, but taking tires on 70, Graham's got to be happy where he is.
Graham's got to be happy. I mean, this is a Graham McGivern 101, as it is Peltz right behind him there. It looks like Peltz is, battling. That is the battle for 9th place right there. These two could not get away from one another. But Graham McGivern is that type of driver. That is his DNA. So consistent, so solid. You give this guy an opportunity to just put together a clean race, and this is what normally happens. As Edward Peltz, though, going to look to his inside and take away that 9th place in a hurry from him. Peltz also, same DNA as Graham McGivern, someone that, like we talked about before the race, I've been racing with since day one for me, and it's only been consistency, clean racing, and just nothing but class from Edward Peltz. So 2 of my favorite drivers, not only to commentate with, but also to share the track with right there, having great days. And going back up to the top 3, let's look at Eric Gambrel over in 3rd place, still having a great day. Is Gambrel putting down incredibly good lap times at this point in the run for himself. And on top of that, just like it is week in, week out for Gambrel, just seems to really have that that short run speed as well. His fastest laps are up there with the top guys here in this league. So Gambrel just picking this racing up so quickly. The finishes are starting to really stack up for him. And don't look now, but AJ Benish over in 2nd place. That, I think, is the sneakiest of snakes in this race right now, is Zach Williams going to bring it down the pits. And it looks like Williams had actually lost a handful of positions before that, Mean Gene.
Yeah, he fell back into 4th behind Gambrel. I think that the flag came on at that point to say, hey, let's come down, get the fuel, make it the rest of the way. Nothing's being gained by staying out there. Question is, though, what exactly is going to happen in that pit. You can see no jack man, just fuel.
Just fuel.
Not a lot of smiles right now. That number 89, fuel only here. Final stop on lap 102.
Like we said, they chose the double bed and not the twin bed because, again, they're trying to save that last set of tires just in case there is a late caution or maybe to put on the end of the race. That, to me, is the wrong call, Mean Gene, because if these guys can run it to, 9 to go on fuel, don't take tires because you don't need that much fuel. As Banesh going to duck it down here, Banesh going to bring it into the pits. So this is interesting. We'll have to see if he elects to take tires or fuel only. I got to say, Mean Gene, 1 or 2 left. Take your tires now. Take your tires now.
Don't take tires because, like Joe just said in my ear. Joe just said in the ear, these guys still going to look at 2. Split it in half. Maybe that's what we saw Williams do. Williams doesn't take tires.
Right.
And just run 20 laps. Take tires. Come back and run 27 more.
You have to remember, Mean Gene, when there's only 9 laps to go, you don't even need 9 seconds worth of fuel. You don't need 2 tires worth of fuel in terms of
That's
time.
Why you split it. Come in at 20. Come on.
Right. I'd agree with that. Yes. That is a great strategy. What we just saw Williams do, he's going to need a caution to take those tires now, which is not a bad strategy, right? He gets that caution, he's going to feel like a genius. Banesh, however, easy decision for him. He had 2 sets of tires, so no brainer there. He's going to take some tires. And here comes another guy 2 guys we were just talking about, Peltz and McGivern, bringing it down for their likely penultimate pit stop.
Well, they said they can't get away from each other. Well, Jesus, though, you're following each other in the pits.
I know. Like, who do you have no one to blame for yourself? You have no one to blame for yourself. You're so right.
Looks like Tim Darby bringing it down. Justin
Jay Johnson,
White
our leader,
is down there as well. Yeah, here comes the leader. Going to turn it over to Gambrill. Rookie going to be so happy up there. Gosh, looks like he's got he's got Schofield right behind him. Yeah, but remember, Schofield did come down.
Right, not for position.
Lap number 90, exactly. Schofield, though, that guy is, 2 laps down.
Yeah, so he's going to want to complete this pass as quick as he can on the leader of the race, which is Gambrill, that truck right in front of him. And look at Air Gambrill, leading laps on his rookie season here. What a just impressive season he's had. I believe Gambrill will bring it down soon. He seems to be favoring the bottom of the track here, still hugging that apron as we enter 3 and 4. My assumption is this is Gambrill's turn. It is. Here we go. Gambrill going to come in. We'll see if he's going to want to take tires or not. Smokin' Joe, do you know what his situation is? Have you talked to his pit crew?
Yeah, so he also has 2 sets of tires left here. So the strategy will be to put tires on here.
That makes sense. Gambrill also reporting loose in but tight out, so they're going to try to make a couple adjustments on that racetrack.
Comes Stephen Neal as well, bringing it on down. Here comes Beverly, bringing that.
Caution's out, and it's Nick Mills. Oh, it's not.
No,
it's not Nick Mills. Sorry, the camo, and I thought I blame the camo.
Well, just listen to the mic. Let's go to the mic. You can hear it. Damn it! What's happening now? Why is my conference the wrong way? Oh, you got into me.
So we're gonna do a poll. Whose accent is more offensive? Is it my Italian as an Italian, or Mean Gene's Irish? I'm gonna say it's my
Scottish. It's Scottish.
What
in the hell is wrong with you? I don't say it's Irish. It's Scottish.
I can't even try to. I mean, you haven't really sent the Italian accent. You've only said Fardiani like I have, but you haven't really gone for it. I'm not going for that Scottish accent, Mean Gene. Smokin' Joe, I got that rec for you if you want to take a look at what happened here. And here we go. So this is all by himself, and you can already tell loose on exit here. And this thing might be nearly impossible to gather up as he's going to continue to try. I think probably putting more throttle in it on the bottom of the racetrack. And what we're hoping to not see here is a snap the other way because we know how violent those could be.
Yeah, you just got to take it.
Right there. Yeah, and look out, Matt Schofield. Uh-oh. Get your fork, Mean Gene.
No.
Oh, gosh. Look at this. Schofield saying, no, please. Great job, honestly, by White.
Yep.
Whoa, Netcode City, baby. That was insane. Oh, that was... He was just trying to do the right thing. Sizable hit.
I want to know what part of the country Schofield's from, so I know what kind of accent he's doing.
Yeah, because I think people want more of that from us. I think
Yeah,
that's of all the
exactly.
things. I think that's what we need to deliver more of is more accents. I think I'll even take classes on how to do accents
You know,
better. Because
actually, I have a message for you getting the Irish and the Scottish confused there.
oh, what's that?
Yeah, I got some Irish fans here. Oh, Zach, why are you saying that?
Oh God.
The Scottish and the Irish, we're not even the same, lad. Oh,
Joe.
Lord. All right. So here we go. Lots of different pits going on. Let's go down to Joe, Smoking Joe in the pit. Try to get this thing straightened out because so many guys were in their pit cycle. So many guys getting ready to come in. Joe, can you make some sense of this? Do you have a dry erase board down there?
Please, Joe.
So I'm smoking right now because the calculator's smoking. So we got a lot of stuff going on here. So AJ, we pointed on him how he still has a set of tires left. So he pitted under green and is going to inherit the lead because he did not go a lap down. Eric Gambrill also pitted under green, took 4 tires. He still has a set left. He's going to inherit second because he did not go a lap down. Nick Mills, he's in third now. He took fuel only there, it looks like. So it's been a while since he threw a set of tires on. Vulpes threw on his second set, so he still has 1 left in the pits if he needs it here for the end. Going through, I think Zach Winstead's in the same boat as well with a set left. David Buell should have a set left as well. Tommy Fox.
Look at this madness.
Has a set left. As you see the chaos of everything going on. Steve Lewis has a set left. Zach Williams did not put on a set of tires. He is in 10th. I believe he may have taken the wave around or got the lucky dog there. Paul Ferdiani, you see him taking fuel only. Just so much chaos going on here with everybody in the field. You see David Owens looks like he took fuel only. So some guys doing some very interesting strategies. Maybe some guys going to try and go 40 laps on a tank of fuel. Other guys going to play it with another pit stop from here.
He says Ferdinand any worse than I do.
Here we go. The pace car out of the way. AJ Binish is in control. Away we go. Great start there by Binish. Mills, Gambrill side by side. Mills hugging the apron. Going to get a slight advantage. Comes up into the corner of Gambrill. Gambrill taps him. Goes up high, holding on for dear life. Both Mills and Gambrill losing speed, allowing Vulpes to catch up. But it's AJ Binish always out to an 0.8 of a second lead. Then behind there, 3-truck single file, and then 2x2x2. Look at the battle between Craven and Winstead. Great action.
Oh my gosh, Gambrill has shown his displeasure there with Nick Mills getting into his right rear quarter panel down the front stretch. Vulpes wanting nothing to do with it. He's going to look to the inside and try to get the hell out of there as quick as he can. But let's go back to that 5 because he said, see you next Tuesday. Keys on the counter. He is checked out.
Well, look at now, and then below them, now it's Mills rubbing up into Gambrill. Goes high for his effort. Look at He's like, hey, boys, I'm the commissioner, not in front of me.
Winstead, look at Winstead to the inside. What a move by Winstead. Going to use that momentum on the high line to try to make a big move on the bottom. David Buell going to split the middle and try to make a 3-wide move. This is unbelievable action towards the middle of the field.
Really good there. You can see the speed of Craven also. That's going to carry the 2 of them past Zach Winstead. Winstead going to fall back into 6th now, hugging the apron behind David Buell. The 74 of Craven still using that outside lane. He's at the quarter of Buell, keeping Buell down on the bottom of the track. David Buell trying to find a little bit of help from, looks like, the 45 of Neal. Right in front of him, Neal is being shown a lap down. Stephen Neal, he is your first truck a lap down. Meanwhile, inside the pit, here comes Paul Fortiani. Got to wonder if he's serving some type of penalty.
Oh, he pits at a sequence, and he's going to have to do 40 seconds, mean G, and that's a lot of seconds.
Oh, he cannot be happy right there. He's going to be counting him off. This thing hurts so bad. Paul Ferdiani, what a great day he was having. He's right in the middle of the best of the rest tournament. Now, disaster strikes on lap 114. Going to serve a 40-second penalty. Zach, it only takes 30 seconds to get around this track. This seems like an infinity for the number 44 driver.
That's even math we can do, me and Gene, and that's not even counting the time spent driving that brutal speed limit in or at this track. So that is just absolutely brutal for Ferdiani. So that's going to be tough for him to recover from. He's going to need another caution to even have any hope of competing for really even a good finish here today. Looking up front, you still have Benesh controlling this race by over a second. Vulpes clearing the field behind him. He is up to second place, doing what he has to. He's starting to fall into that bucket of exceptional but quiet drivers is Vulpes. He was so dominant to start this season. I think he kind of just settled in, and he's been doing a lot of this podium and top 5 driving since. Nearly won the regular season championship, and he's doing what he has to have a chance at the Final Four and another championship. Behind them, Gambrill, man, he got up on the wheel in that restart. I'll tell you what, Gambrill may be a rookie, but he is not going to get pushed around.
No, he's in a good group of guys there. He hangs out with those Gulf Coast Racing East Coast Alliance drivers, so great network of knowledge at Eric's fingertips, helping him get ready for these races. But you're right, Joe Vulpes, he's one of the trucks that came in and took 4 tires back on lap 108, and you can see right there 30.46, one of the fastest trucks, the fastest truck on the lead lap. So starting to close that gap on Benish, who took 4 back on 102. Also, David Buell, Morris Craven, they came in, took 4 on 108. Winstead, Mills, so lots of speed in that group between 2nd and 6th place as they're trying to close the gap. AJ Benish holding on for dear life, starting to catch up to the lap driver of Justin White. White being shown 9 laps down now at this point. Really rough day for the playoff driver, Justin White. And there's Nick Mills now coming down. Let's go to Joe. Smoking Joe, why is the 20 visiting the pit?
And he did do a clean, Gene. Death taxes and Nick Mills wrecking in pit road entry.
Yeah, so he's going to try and undercut the field here, but I think he may have gotten a penalty for his pit entry. Not 100% sure. Let's see what happens when he takes, looks like he's taking 4 here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Gene, he didn't hit the wall this time, but it did not look any cleaner. I mean, if you could ever not hit the wall and enter worse, Nick Mills just did that. I think this might be a penalty here. We'll see as he drives back around. If he has to re-enter those pits, we'll know for sure. So so Landry, we saw him get super loose, nearly put it nose first once again into that wall, but Nick Mills able to keep it straight. And it looks like no penalties showing up in my data here, so good for Mills. And we'll have to see how that strategy pans out for him. I don't hate it at all. I actually think that's quite smart. But speaking of, taking 4, here goes Vulpes looking for the lead on Benesh.
Vulpes making battle right here on the apron. Benish on the outside with more momentum, but the fresher tires of Vulpes holding that apron. Good momentum. They're going to battle it across the start finish. Joe Vulpes taking the lead here on 119, but still 31 laps of battle remaining. Pit stops could be looming for these fellas. Vulpes got to be happy, but he's got that extra set of tires if this thing stays green.
Me and Gene, if I had $1 for every time I lost to Joe Vulpes and said, where the hell did he come from with 29 to go, I'd be a pretty rich man. Joe Vulpes is a dangerous driver when he takes the lead with under 30 to go. Just as dangerous as I was talking about Benesh is in clean air. Oh boy, I'd be just as afraid to see Vulpes figured out this late and also be on the right side of what I believe is a strategy. And perhaps even more crazy, look who's in front of him.
Yeah, David Owens blinking.
Oh, something's wrong with that 8. Yeah,
he's not having a good one. Unfortunate here. This,
I can relate, my friend.
The sponsor race for David Owens, but not having the day that he wanted. Pushing it to the extreme on that one fuel run, losing so many positions. Now we're hearing things are overheating for the number 8 as he does go a lap down. He will now be the first truck a lead lap that is a lap down. Stephen Neal not happy about that as he's trying to close the gap. Only 1.3 seconds separating Owens and Neal. So Neal needs to make that move and get ahead of Owens as quick as he can to get back in that lucky dog position.
And that'll be down to 0.3 by next lap, and Gene. David Owens is going nowhere fast right now. That 8 just clearly having some issues. I completely feel for him. As you guys heard at the beginning of this broadcast, I'm having network issues too. There's nothing worse. I'm racing for a championship tomorrow, and I don't trust my freaking internet, so I know how Owens is feeling right now. And Benish is going to bring him down in the pit. So here comes AJ, as well as Buell.
Yeah,
and what a great entry by Buell. Buell took off probably a half a second there on AJ, Mean Gene.
Now, you might be wondering what the lap times are going to be if you came down to take the 4 tires. Last lap, Zach Williams ran a 30.41. He took 4 on 121. Nick Mills, who took 4 on 118, he ran a 30.31. So you see about a half of a second of speed advantage for those boys that are coming to take tires. But
two tires for Ganesh.
You're down there a long, long time. So if somebody like Vulpes could stretch this thing all the way, that would be detrimental for those guys. We said you can make 32. Vulpes last pitted on 108. So that's a little bit short, but we did have that one caution in between.
Yeah, Vulpes is in the catbird seat right now. He has other drivers around him with inverse strategies. I think Owens really babying that thing around. If you're dealing with network issues anyway, you might as well just clutch that curl around there and save as much food as you can. We've already talked about how good Owens is at that. I'd imagine that's what he's doing. Lynott as well. Whenever you see a driver like Lynott or Owens running in 7th or 8th when they shouldn't be, oh boy, look inwards, because it's probably not them. So you see right there, Lynott letting trucks by, Vulpes right there just thinking, what are you MFers up to? But I've likely in the same Discord, so I think Vulpes still, again, like I said, Mijin, he is in the catbird seat. And one thing that has to be mentioned, as we saw Buell and Banesh come down in the pits together, Buell took 4, Banesh took 2.
Yeah, Lynott running 32.10, 32.1 that last time. So he's a full second off the pace of what Vulpes is doing. So definitely committed at this point. You know, he's made his bed. Now it's just a matter of seeing how long he can run around this track. He is being shown 30.7 seconds behind the leader. So Vulpes is the truck directly behind him. So got to be imagined that in a moment, he is also going to go a lap down. Vulpes making great time. Eric Gambrell behind him, just a tad bit slower. Vulpes not holding back. 30.17, fastest lap that last time. Trying to get as many people a lap down as he can. Oh, 31.
Yeah, not quite the fastest lap. AJ is actually a second faster than Vulpes is right now, Mean Gene. And you can see on screen, that is a rocket ship right now. And the reason why you pit when you did, if you're AJ, is for this reason right here, to just absolutely haul the mail when you come back on track. And that's what Banesh is doing. He took those 2 tires. He's getting the most of it. And really what's sticking out to me is those lap times with those 2 tires, Mean Gene. That's up there with anyone today who's had 4 freshies. So AJ Banesh, I think at the end of this race, has figured out a little bit of a secret. I think the only guy who might know that same secret would be David Owens, who accidentally took 2 earlier.
We're going to find out. But again, Vulpes the fastest on the lead lap.
Yes.
Finishing
you
my
got that
sentence.
part right.
Yes.
That's what you meant the whole time. Yeah.
Bastards.
And what if I told you that Gambrell was faster last lap?
No. That was 3 laps ago now. He's trying to close in. I think Vulpes going to zip on by here. Lynott holding out as long as he can, but inevitable he's going to go down. Other guys of note, great run by Zach Winstead. He's got that number 24 Ford up into 3rd place. Good
Craven.
Run there. Red Bull driver. Behind him, Craven working that outside lane so well. Continuing to push forward. His lap time's just a bit off the guys in front of him, but making great headway here. How about Steve Lewis damaging the back of that truck, still putting himself up into the top 5 of today's race. And then here goes the contenders. Tommy Fox battling for a best of the rest. Kyle Lynott praying that he could somehow stay in this thing.
Banesh gets Owens there.
Angle coming back onto the track.
So Banesh easily gets Owens there. And man, if we do not get a yellow here, Mean Gene, 17 to go, this is going to be equally
Here
as
we
fast
go.
as yesterday was.
In the pit.
Vulpes in the pits, Gambrell as well. So Winstead will inherit the lead here. But Gambrel and Volpus going to bring it down, and okay, 16 to go. I would be very, very tempted to splash and go here if I'm Volpus. We'll see what he chooses to do.
I'd go with 2.
Yeah, I guess might as well. 16, you probably need about 7 seconds of fuel. We'll see. We see his tire changer's out. It's going to be 2 tires so far. Fuel man out there as well. Looks like only 1 fuel tank out there, only 2 sets of tires, and they're going to give him the all clear to go. A little bit of lost time there on those 2 tires, as you saw with those with that pit crew waiting on him a tiny bit, but I think that was a risk worth taking. But as you see right there, Banesh and Owens going around him, and that was for position.
Yep, Volpus trying to hold on. He's a little bit ahead of the leader, Winstead, right now. Winstead's still going to need a pit. Binish, the first truck that's not going to need to pit.
Tommy Fox in the pits. So we have Fox in now as well, and it looks like Winstead is going to continue to lead this race, and you also have Lewis staying out still. Both of these drivers pitted on lap 108. Kyle Lynott last pitting on lap 109, and then AJ Benish, the first truck likely okay to make it to the end, who pitted on lap 125. So hypothetically, AJ Benish is the leader of this race, as you see him complete that pass on Lynott. So only 2 to go until he's the legitimate leader of this race. And really, I think who he should be paying attention to right now has to be that number 13 truck of Joseph Volpus, and looking at those lap times, as he easily blows the doors up Owens.
Yeah, Volpus 0.6 of a second faster than Binish that last lap. Volpus taking the 2 tires on 134, so he's got 9-lap pressure right sides. That could make a difference. Let's see that break off as Binish already suffering.
Look at that, Mean Gene. He just caught Kyle Lynott. That looked like it was about a half a second difference, and he's not on screen anymore. Bye, Kyle.
No, and if Lynott's even trying to push it to the end, which I assume he's having to do, he's getting 8 up right now. So the triage begins for Lynott and possibly even David Owens as well, as they see Binish and Volpus just zip on by him. Meanwhile, Volpus continues another lap, 0.6 of a second faster than Binish. If this keeps up, it's only going to take him about 3 or 4 more laps to catch him. 12 laps to go here in Nashville.
Smoking Joe, go on board with Kyle Lynott real quick. You have to see this, Mean Gene. This is insane. Pay attention to that number, that big number in the middle of his dash right there. That's his RPMs. You should be well over 7,000, 6,000 by the end of the backstretch here. Not even close. And listen closely. Actually, no clutch there by Lynott. That's actually quite curious. He's been using it previous to that. But the gas saving that Lynott is doing right now, I'll tell you what, Mean Gene, it's easy to drive that 98 right now. He is going criminally slow around this racetrack. That must be such a weird feeling. That's never the strategy I go with, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just don't have the patience, if I'm being honest, to do that. But it is just insane how committed to that you have to be, like Lynott is being right now, and you just better cross your fingers that this works out.
Well, you know, it's the same thing we saw with David Owens earlier. You're getting passed by people. You can see the timer running. You know it's trending the wrong way, but you just got to take it. And, you know, Owens and Lynott both doing a really good job of taking it tonight, but that patience might not pay off as they're trying this strategy.
Here comes Lewis.
Just having those trucks go right on by them. Lewis into the pit. Only Winstead remains out on the track. Last pitted on lap 108. So he's got to be calling it in now. Yeah, I mean, 108 plus 34 is 142, and that's exactly where we are. Been green that whole time. Meanwhile, Volpus has taken the lead. The hypothetical secondary lead. Yeah, the hypothetical lead zips on the outside of Binish. Power moved him to take over that lead. And now trying to do his best. Yep, Winstead on the radio saying he's going to be bringing it in next time. That will turn it over to Volpus and Binish. Behind them, you can see Eric Gambrel, but he's 5 seconds back, not really in the battle. Gambrel going to be doing battle with David Buell in just a moment. Morris Craven fading all the way back. And then you can see the slower trucks of Owens and Lynott back there at 7th and 8th. Nick Mills still rolling. All the battles Nick Mills has had, still on the lead lap, still in the top 10 Winstead bringing it in, and that is going to wrap it around for new leader, almost new leader.
There it is.
New leader, Joe Volpes.
And me and Gene, we've been confused during this race. We've questioned pit strategy, but I'm glad I was right about one thing. Because what did I say about 15 laps ago? I said, do not give this guy the lead and don't give him this confidence, because this is what happens. Here it is, Volpes with more than a second lead on AJ Benish. This is an unbelievable job this 13 has done. There's only going to be 6 to go when he crosses the line this time. And oh, your heart breaks for Zach Winstead. He was just praying for that caution. Then who knows if we get that caution? I think everyone brings it down and at least take something, right? Or at least if you're Winstead, you can maybe hope for enough caution laps to where you can leave it out there, but it just wasn't meant to be. So many drivers had so much speed today. You look at Zach Engel in 21st, multiple laps down. Zach Williams was so good today. Jake Johnston was so good today. They're now all lapped down due to just a really, really ill-timed caution. But I'll tell you who is not complaining about that one bit, and that's our leader.
Yeah, Joe Volpes got to be pleased here today, especially in this format of a full reset of points. That's allowing him to be on even ground with these guys. And now here he is with the lead, has to feel confident. Plenty of fuel, plenty of tire. All he needs to do now is count down these next 5 laps and watch that lead continue to grow. Joe has been 6/10 of a second faster pretty regularly. Here he is again, 7/10 of a second faster that last lap. Now you might be wondering about Benish and Gambrel, the second and third. While Gambrel is quicker than Benish, but I'm not sure he's going to have enough time to close the gap. Still 2.4 seconds behind the number 5 Chevrolet.
And what do we always say, me and Gene? Catching him is one thing, passing them a whole nother. And that very much applies to that 5 at Benish. He is not an easy truck to pass. So good at working the air and so good at working the lines. But Joseph Volpes, I wonder if he was clued in some information about when Benish took those 2 tires, because Joe obviously thinking, okay, well, I don't need to pit for 9-10 more laps, but damn, those are fast laps from that 5 truck. I'm going to do that. Because if he knew that, that had to have been the light bulb moment for this 13 truck right there, because he has been ridiculous fast on those 2 tires. He didn't need 4, Mean Gene. He genuinely didn't. He has been just as fast on these 2, and it has worked out beautifully. This is the penultimate lap, and Joe Volpes is going to come one step closer to punching his ticket to racing for a BTT championship.
Yeah, Joe Volpes, there's no winning you're in, but you got to feel good about putting this kind of a run together, getting those points out there on the track. Little bit of a roadblock ahead of him now. You can see the Lynott truck trying to save fuel. You can see ahead of him Peltz as well, just a little bit off the pace, but plenty of room behind the 13. Doesn't need to sweat it. Here he comes, making his way across the finish line. Congratulations.
White flag.
White flag. Gonna give it to him early. Marty Reed in the house.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong about your prediction, me and Gene. If only this is a sports betting app, as I'd put all my money down on it right now. Because Joe Volpes, I think, is about to take home this dub. And it's been a little bit too long since we've seen this 13 parked in a victory lane.
Yeah, always the
Owens is out of fuel. Owens is out of fuel.
But this time, there it is. You know the good part? He let Volpes go by him. So that ended his race.
That was brilliant, honestly, by David Owens. That was honestly David Owens always playing chess while we're all playing checkers. But I'll tell you who else was playing chess and was a grandmaster today, and that was that 13 at Joseph Volpes.
Yeah, really good work there by Joe, spreading out those cautions, those pit stops the way he needed so that he could maintain those 4-tire pit stops late in the race. Then the brilliance of taking the 2, catching up to Benish with the same strategy, but did it 9 laps earlier. That allowed Volpes the speed to make that victory. Doing the donuts now, messing it up across the start-finish line. Good win. Hats off to Joe Volpes. Behind him, AJ Benish gonna bring it home in second. Great run there by the number 5. Eric Gambrel gonna be on the podium. Got to be thrilled with what he did here today. Up 10 spots. Gambrel finishing in 3rd. Big finish by David Buell, going to take it home in 4th. Morris Craven going to bring it home in 5th place. Good run there by the 74 Toyota driver. Zach Winstead going to hold on for 6th. Great run there by Zach. Tommy Fox, he's in the best of the rest contention, 7. Nick Mills, all kinds of obstacles placed in front of the Kentuckian, but manages to battle through. Spinning going in, spinning coming out, facing the wrong way on the track, yet here he is, going to bring her home in 8th. Zach Williams led laps early, finishes in 9th, and Steve Lewis, the captain, going to bring it home in 10th. Great days for all of those drivers.
Mean Gene, do you remember that last scene of Talladega Nights where Ricky Bobby and, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name, but the his rival make out at the start finish line?
No, I've blocked that from my memory. That's not a thing.
Well, it happened, and Joe Volpis and Tim Darby just did that. They literally just made out for like a solid 15 seconds at the start finish line.
No.
Yeah, I'm glad that we had the results up because we got demonetized for that. I'm not even kidding.
That is not a thing.
I'll work us through the rest of this. The rest of this here now. I'm a little bit distracted. I'm sorry. 11th place. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The fuel savers. Here they come.
Yeah, they do. And we talked a lot about that strategy. We were puzzled, and I think we were right. It didn't work out. 11th place, David Owens. We never really, at any point, 150 laps, besides qualifying, I don't think we ever saw how fast David Owens truly was today. He was always being cute today, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but he was really trying to look at the strategy end of this race, and that oftentimes for Owens works out. Another thing too is he is the best at having to, or being able to adapt to when there's a late caution, taking 2, taking 0, getting us on the track position. I get why Owens did that, but it was not meant to be today. He's going to finish a lap down in 11th place at the race he sponsored, his favorite racetrack. That's got to hurt for Owens, but there's still one more race, and it could certainly be worse, especially considering a lot of his chase competitors, round of 8 competitors, finished behind him, and that's going to include the 12th place finisher of Kyle Lynott. We saw Lynott limping around towards the end of that race, and he's going to bring it home 12th place. Again, that strategy did not seem to be the way to go. And 13th place is going to be Stephen Neal. I believe he was also part of that, Mean Gene. He's going to bring it home 13th, just not having the gas or tire to really do anything about it. Grant McGivern was really fast today, but also an ill-timed caution is going to trap him a lap down, and the best he's going to be able to do is going to be 14th, but still, for that best of the rest, going to be a good finish. Matt Schofield, he is one of our round of 8 drivers. A 15th place finish, not great, but certainly could be worse for Schofield. Schofield's going to bring it home there in the top 15. And the last car, 1 lap down, will be Jake Johnson. So many laps led by Johnson today. If not led, then in second place, following Zach Williams around. Such a shame that we couldn't see that through for him. That truck, that 32 truck, certainly had race-winning speed today. But like I always say, Mean Gene, you do that enough times, you're going to be in victory lane soon enough. Jake Johnson, a good best of the rest performance altogether. Same goes for Everett Peltz in 17th place. He had a solid day. He'll be 2 laps down to finish this race in 17th place. John Beverly, the commish, will be 18th place. Adam Milhot will finish in 19th. Zach Engel, we saw him early on running in the top 3. He was over in second place, reeling in Benesh on the long run, and then he had a restart go wrong, and that cost him a couple laps, and the cautions did not fall to give him those laps back. Brutal for the round of 8 driver of Zach Engel. He'll finish 20th place in a race where he had race-winning speed. Paul Ferdiani is going to finish 3 laps down. And that's a lot of laps, Mean Gene. 3 laps down. Left for Ferdiani. He had that penalty as well. He had to serve it under green. That did cost him multiple laps. That will result in a 21st position. Tim Darby, I mean, he is going to come in 22nd, but I mean, 22nd place, be able to make out with Joe Volpis. I mean, is it that of a day? Still a good day for Darby. He's happy. So Darby going to come on 22nd place, but second base with Joe Volpis. And then 23rd, and this is a big one. Justin White going to finish dead last in this race. And one thing that pretty crazy, I mean, Gene, no DNFs. Not even close, really.
No, good running by everybody. The biggest issues we saw, of course, was the unfortunateness for White and Angle jumping that restart, costing them laps, and then that big kerfuffle where half the field gets caught a lap down, and then there were no real cautions after that to get lucky dogs, to allow those drivers to get back around. They're taking chances to be in the front, avoiding the dirty air. So maybe they skip tires, and then on the extended run, it just costs them even more time and more time. And it's like a snowball becoming an avalanche as these guys trying to battle through. Up at the front, though, the brakes went the right way for those drivers, and their playoff chances improve. We can go ahead and take a picture of that. There it is. Vulpes, on the weight of today's victory, finds himself up at the top, 2 points ahead of AJ. Little 7-point drop to David Owens. Rough day for David, but was able to still find himself up there in third. There he is, the cat with 7 lives remaining. Kyle Lynott, he's
Yeah, he
on
is one
that
today.
cutoff line, 2 ahead of Stephen Neal. Schofield behind them, and then the 2 hard luck drivers of the day, Angle and White, find themselves down at the bottom in a painful position behind the 8 ball. But you know what? Only 11 points between White and Lynott. So this thing wide open going into Texas next week. You got to feel good for the chances of the top, 6 drivers, 7. White is going to have the biggest obstacle to overcome. But White has winning speed at Texas. He pulls a win there. Couple of bad runs, bad luck. Texas can cause a big one. Benish, Owens, Lynott, any of those guys find themselves on the wrong side of a 10-car pileup. This, White's right back in this thing.
What really sticks out to me looking at these points and the numbers specifically, Mean Gene, is that a bad race is so much worse than a good race is good, if that makes sense. Joseph
Does.
Volpes wins this race here today, and he's only plus 12. If he has a bad race next week, bye. Doesn't even matter that you won. You're likely not going to be raced for a championship. Then you look at someone like Justin White, race winning speed, had that bad luck on that restart, cost him a good finish. He ends up dead last, 9 laps down, and now he is so far on the outside looking in. But you look at these, and this is just one race, and like we said, it all resets. They came into this race all at 3,000. If I'm Justin White, I'm looking at this and thinking, well, if it could be that bad, then it could be that good next week, right? And it could be that bad for my competitors. This is not over for anybody. And if I'm David Owens, I know, like we just said, that's gotta hurt for the 8 of Owens. You had this one circle. This was the race that was supposed to make sure you can go to Chicagoland and race for that championship. And I felt that same way last week on this network, racing in the DDIRL. We went to Chicagoland, and I had that one circle, and I was thinking, this is where I wrap the championship. We're going to Miami, and then we're going to be racing for fun. I'll already be the champion. And what do? I blow it on lap 2. And I end up, much like Owens, never really being able to show what I was able to do today. It's not over, though. There's still everything to be played for. And if you're Owens, I think you come out of here, believe it or not, positive, happy, because this could have been so much worse. I think he'll realize how lucky he is that Lynott, Neal, Schofield, Angle, and White, what are the odds of that, Mean Gene, had a bad day, a worse day than him today?
Yeah, the if you were to put that on a parlay sheet, you'd have really won big as far as the betting odds of
For sure.
all those drivers having a bad day. But it's exactly what you said. Owen's going to be disappointed. The guy always wants to win, hard competitor, but has to be thrilled that he's above the cut line right now. He's got that nice 5-point gap. They're headed to Texas. You want to guess who won Texas last year?
My guess is Benish.
No, he got second. He was behind David Owens. That's right. So Owens and Benish, those are the top 2 from Texas last year. Other guys of note, Stephen Neal brought it home in 8th. So that's a track that he likes as well. Looking down this list, that's
was Lynott there?
Lynott was 15th, 16 laps down. So something
Look at his fastest lap. How good was his fastest lap compared to everybody else? Because I know Lynott is a beast at Texas.
31.174. He was somewhere around 8th fastest.
Interesting. I guess it also just goes to show how good the talent is here. But Lynott is someone I'll have my eye on at Texas. He loves those type of tracks. He's so good.
7 lives. He's got 7 lives left in this thing.
He should use at least 4 at Texas.
Yeah, I'm not sweating it. I think Kyle's going to do what he needs to do next week to get through. And if you're a Austin Dillon fan, you know what you need to do sometimes.
How was Richmond?
You just do it whatever track you're on. You know what to do. You just smash. You just smash and pass. It's like a scratch and sniff. You do what you need to do. What I'm really hoping though is that we see practice laps put in before they get to the track. I want to see a strong run in from Schofield. It's time to see that car, that truck out in the front of this field. Didn't see Schofield at Texas last year, so love to see him come back strong, give us something to look at. Same thing with Neil. You know, that's another guy. We've already seen Zach Engel win on the big track. We saw him win at Talladega last year. I know that he can do it. We've seen White knocking on the door all year. These guys all need a big day. The bottom four is who we're looking at. Those top four, they're in good shape. If they don't have a bad day, like you said, bad day can be worse than a good day is good. Those bottom four, though, they need to finish in the top five if they want any shot of moving forward.
And I mean, to push back a tiny bit on that, I mean, Gene, yeah, Benesh just needs not a bad day. Owens and Lynott, no, they need a good day. If let me riddle you this: if Lynott finishes in 5th and Neil finishes in 2nd, Lynott's not going to the final 4.
Bye bye.
Yep, imagine, like we just said, you could look at your round of 8 and have 2 finishes that you can be proud of. Don't care. NASCAR doesn't care. Racing doesn't care. You're not going to the round of 4. You need to be exceptional. And also, we're not talking enough about how good I think Justin White will also be at Texas next week. I think he's going to be a contender for the win. And so you have to assume White likely going to be a contender to go to victory lane. I think the 3 drivers I'm going to be looking at are going to be Benesh, White, and Owens. But when we normally do that, me and Gene, and I think those drivers too are gonna be looking at that race and thinking and frothing, I think, honestly, and thinking, I gotta get this one. I gotta make sure I don't have to think about points. I just want to go to Chicagoland. They're gonna be aggressive, and you know what can happen when aggression happens, especially a track like Texas where the 2 sets of corners are so different. You can see such interesting racing there. I love that track on iRacing. So much criticism, justified criticism of that track in real life, but on iRacing, that place races awesome. Great choice by BTT to put that as the penultimate race of the season. Excited for that. And any of these 8 drivers, points, talent, all of it, it's all to play for, me and Gene. It's, oh boy. I mean, I'm not kidding. If I'm Kyle and not, I'm not comfortable with anything besides a win. Genuinely.
You don't like that bump coming out of turn 4?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, I like throwing dirty air to my competitors and making them deal with it, and not me. But I love Texas. I have a couple W's there. It's a really fun track, and it really welcomes multi-line racing. Again, nothing like real life, but it's a lot of fun. That 3 and 4, I believe. No, I'm sorry. That 1 and 2. It's the opposite of Kentucky. That 1 and 2, where you really have to get on the brakes, really creates a lot of passing opportunities. And I think driving style will definitely shine there. And again, one guy that comes to mind is Benesh, because on this service, you kind of look at Texas and it's just Kentucky's reversed. Kentucky has a weird 3 and 4, but a really straightforward 1 and 2. Texas is the other way around. AJ Benesh is dominant at Kentucky. So we'll have to see how good he is at Texas.
Cannot wait. And let's take a little look at the best of the rest if we got that stat. Want to give these guys a little bit of love.
All right,
so there it is. Yeah, the guys lit up in yellow, and these points are appropriate for what they accumulated here today. Remember, they went into the race all being tied. So what you see there is the point separating. So Fox top of best of the rest at the moment, 7-point lead over Graham McGivern. Jake Johnson in 3rd. Eddie Peltz only 2 behind him. Now, funny story here, though, only 3 of these guys advance, right, Zach?
Yeah, only 3 of them advanced to race it out for a championship over at Chicagoland. And Tommy Fox, he's got to be also frothing right now, because Tommy Fox tomorrow in the DDIRL will be racing against Juan Delgado. He has a 2-point advantage, and they will be going to Miami to race for the Best of the Rest championship. So if Fox is able to get both done, do we just combine the trophies and call it the best of the restest?
Well, you got to call Kevin and see about that.
Yeah, I'll design it, Tommy. Just say we'll put the logos together. I like the name, the best of the restest, because Tommy Fox. I mean, if you win 2 Best of the Rest championships, I think you know where you're headed next season. And it's going to be straight to at least that round of 8.
Yep, the bestest of the restest.
The best of the best of the restest. I mean, because that's 2 bestest. Or the bestest of the restest. I'm okay with that.
That's what I'm saying. Bestest of the restest.
Actually, I like that. That rolls at the tongue real nice.
Regardless.
But
Tommy,
kept
like you
winning
said,
fails.
Tommy, so consistent, able to make it work. I mean, great finish here from today. Had to be thrilled. Finds himself up at the top of the best of the rest poll currently. Graham McGivern, that guy seemed to be right in the middle of wildness. Him and Steve Lewis always finding a little bit of chaos here today, but McGivern able to bring her home. But look how tight it is there. You know, McGivern and Johnson and Peltz all within 3 points of each other. And one of those guys could possibly not be going to that championship showdown at Chicagoland. Now, behind them, don't count out these two fellas. You know, we
Oh,
saw Ferdiani bring home a second place finish just a few, just last week. So let's say he repeats a second place. That'll give him 30 points. That jumps him up to 41. If
no,
he
just kidding.
accumulates 41 points next week, that puts all kinds of pressure on McGivern, Johnson, and Peltz to figure out what they're doing to not drop. So can't count these guys out as of yet. That's the thing with the two races, but especially more so with the best of the rest guys than with the playoff drivers in that round of 8. A good finish can put you over the top. A bad finish
Mhm.
that happens to all of us, but a good finish that will propel them up into that championship at Chicagoland.
That is, you read my mind right there. I mean, Gene, because that was the point I was about to bring up. Let's talk about Jake Johnson real quick, sitting there in third. He was a perfect example of how just severely these points can sway in this best of the rest tournament here. Because while these guys have ended up here through midfield position or midfield finishes throughout the majority of the regular season, Jake Johnson showed us today what we all knew here in the booth, all three of us, is that any of these guys are capable of running up front and leading laps and winning races. Jake Johnson was in position to win this race if the cautions fly his way. Graham McGivern was in position to easily come home with a top 10, along with Edward Peltz, if that caution doesn't come out as well. So that really just goes to show how good of finishes these guys are capable of and how upside down these standings could be next week when we're talking about this again.
Yeah, so this thing's still wide open for these boys. Any one of them with a top 5 finish puts amazing pressure on the rest of the best of the rest to do well as they continue to battle
The
to see
restest of the
who's
bestest of the restest.
the restest of the bestest. Lord of mercy. It is 1 a.m.
Yeah, that's when you know it's time.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Well, heck of a day of racing here. This is the round of 8. We see this thing pushing forward. This was the Burnt Rubber Revival, sponsored by David Owens, here live from Nashville Super Speedway, live on the Vortex Racing Network. 3 wide in the booth. I'm Mean Gene Money, Zach Panzarella, Smokin' Joe. Very proud of what we brought you today and just so grateful for the action that the drivers gave us out there on the track. More of it coming our way next week when they go to that final elimination race at Texas. But wait, you want racing? There's more. Just tomorrow night, we're going to have a championship in the DDI Racing League as we'll see the showdown between Cowgill and Panzarella to see who's going to bring home that championship, and best of the rest championship on the line in the DDI Truck Series, as well as Juan Delgado showdown with Tommy Fox. Plenty of excitement here on the Vortex Racing Network. Then there's live on Thursday, 5 nights a week. Can't wait. Join us. Please subscribe, hit like, push us up that algorithm, and you can see and be notified whenever the racing comes. And you want to be part of the racing? Hey, now is your time. ARCA Series Racing coming to you Monday. League forming as we speak. You can reach out to myself, Mean Gene, Zach Panzarella, Smokin' Joe. Plenty of opportunities left to register. Leave your name on this YouTube video here. We'll reach out to you, figure something out, get you in the league. Remember, though, 2.5K max I rating. You can't be a 4K guy come walking in here. There's other leagues for that. This is an amateur league, no money to play. You just race and have a good time. Get involved in the action. Who knows? You could join us in the booth for that interview when you find yourself on the top of the podium in victory lane. That's going to wrap us up from Nashville. Been our pleasure to bring you this action. Please join us next time. On behalf of myself, Mean Gene Money, Smokin' Joe, Zach Panzarella, our sponsors, KK Woodscapes, as well as David Owens being the title sponsor, and the League News Weekly giving us the Poll Award. It's been our pleasure. All of the admins who make this possible. And hey, shout out to Buddy Sully and all the boys back in the production truck for making it happen for us. Have a great rest of your evening. And as always, bottoms up and hammer down.